around New Year's, I was feeling pretty lost this year. See, I just wrapped up my first semester here at Harvard, and I felt like while I had learned a lot academically, as a person, I hadn't really learned a lot. I was still the same person that I was. I wasn't pursuing any passions and growing. I was just kind of, being me and reacting to the world around me. And I was not happy with this, so I made a video about that, and then I also decided as a New Year's resolution that I was going to be reading 52 books in 2018, one book every week. And I'm about 20 books in, and I'm going to be real, it's changing my life. When I was a kid, I was a big bookworm. I read books all the time. Harry Potter, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Ender's Game, that whole series. I love them, and I can thank my mom for that because she's a published author. And this lasted for pretty much my entire elementary school career, and then all of a sudden I fell out of love. It's not anything that really changed in me, but I kind of blame the school system for this, okay? And here's why. So the problem with the way that reading is approached in school is that it associates a reward with the act of reading. That is, if you read a book, then you do well on your presentation, or on your test, or on your essay. It turns it into a transaction. So now when you take away that reward of grades, well, you're doing what feels like work because previously you exchanged it for a reward, but now there is no reward. So when it comes to choosing between, reading or going on your phone or something else that's pleasurable, well, you're going to choose going on your phone or doing something else because reading is a chore. It's work, and there's no reward for that work. So when I started off reading a book every week, it was tough. It felt like a chore with no reward because that's how I had been trained by school. So I had to fight two issues. One, motivation, which to fix honestly was just a matter of time. I just had to read a few books before I started to think, hey, this is really impactful. This is really fun. This is kind of starting to change my life. I'm seeing the world a little bit different. The lessons that I'm learning are actually starting to be applied to my life. I should keep doing this. This is pretty fun. And then it kind of became addictive. So then it just came to the question of how do I find enough time? And what I learned is that if I can carve out blocks of time throughout the day, so a little bit of time when I wake up, some time before I go to bed, sometimes I'll stick around after eating meals with my friends and I'll stick around for an extra 10, 15 minutes. If I have to take a bus somewhere, then I'll be reading on the bus. Just finding those little moments throughout the day, they really do add up, and you can end up spending, an hour and a half, 2 hours every day, just by picking those little 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and spending them reading as opposed to being on your phone or whatever. So I'm 20 weeks in, and I feel like they've been some of the 20 best weeks of my life, some of the 20 weeks where I've changed the most as a person. I mean it when I say that I feel like a different person and that it's changing my life because the way that I'm looking at the world is it's completely different. The way that I look at myself in the mirror, it's different. And that's really exciting to me because 20 weeks is not a very long time in the grand scheme of things. So where am I going to be in another 20 weeks and another 20 weeks and another 20 weeks? If I can keep this habit up and I can keep this personal development going, that's really exciting to me. So I think I was mistakenly under the impression that I might not learn as much or much more from books than from, watching videos on YouTube. But when you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense why books are much more valuable than the time that you might spend on YouTube. And the reason being is simply that it takes somebody years to write a book in most cases, sometimes decades. And when you're looking at decades of work that have been condensed into a few hours of reading, that's pretty special. The ideas in there have been highly developed by someone who is really smart and who has thought about them a lot, and you can kind of just absorb them. Whereas with a YouTube video or anything like that, while the ideas are still good, they've only been fleshed out for hours, maybe days. I mean, in the most extreme cases, weeks, but you would never see something that took years on YouTube. For the most part, it's just things that people create in a few days, like this video. And I want to be clear that I'm not saying there is no value in other forms of media. Of course there's value in YouTube and in Instagram and stuff like that, but reading books, it's just on another level. So I'm recommending that everybody pick this up. Like, everybody should be reading for fun. And trust me, at first it's gonna suck. If you've come through the school system, reading is gonna feel like a chore. You just gotta stick with it. You just gotta keep pushing through it and kind of making yourself read until you start breaking that habit of, oh, this is a chore. Once you start realizing, wow, this is really rewarding, I'm getting cool lessons out of this, then it becomes fun. And you just got to make sure that you're making time in your day, taking time away from social media if need be, and just spending some time with books. It's going to be tremendously beneficial to you. So if I'm saying that the books that I've been reading have been changing my life, I should probably tell you what books they are. I have a list of them on my Amazon influencer page. There's a link to that in the description of this video, along with the other stuff that I use in my videos and in my day-to-day life. I have kind of ranked them in order of the books that I've read this year that have been the most impactful personally to me. And there's kind of a wide variety of books, although they're mostly like positive psychology books, stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description of this video. I've also included some other books on that list that I haven't read this year, but I've read in the past that have been really impactful. So let's talk about what's been happening on this channel recently, because it's been nuts, okay? When I posted my last video, I had, I think, 18,000 subscribers, and now we're well over 30,000 and growing at like an incredible rate. It's been amazing to watch these numbers. I've been in finals mode kind of because I've had like 4 midterms in the past few days. It's been crazy and I haven't had a lot of time to dedicate to making videos, which is too bad because as I'm looking at these numbers, it's just incredibly inspirational that this many people are watching and following along, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be making, I've got some cool projects that are going to be coming up this summer. It's going to be fun. One of those projects is going to be building out my Instagram more. I'm going to start using it more and more for creating cool content, especially when I'm back home with my brother, who is an amazing photographer. So if you're interested in following that along, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, @TheJohnFish, there's going to be some cool stuff that you might not see otherwise. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really do hope that you actually start reading more if you don't already read for fun. And if you do read and you have books that are not on my list yet, please drop a comment, because I'm always looking for new books to read, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next Friday.